using AI and even just keeping up with it can seem like a tsunami at times, right? Especially what we've seen with OpenAI the past couple of days. But it seems like there's always new tools and tips and technologies. And how do we make use of all of that? How can we build strategies to recruit better, retain better talent, and to grow, right? To grow our careers and to grow our companies. That's what we're going to be talking about today on Everyday AI. Welcome if you're new here. My name's Jordan. I'm your host. And Everyday AI is a daily live stream podcast and free daily newsletter where we help everyday people like you and me not just understand AI, but how we can all actually use it to grow our companies, grow our careers. I'm extremely excited today to talk about those things. But before we do, as always, let's first take a quick dive into the AI news. And actually, you know what? If you're joining live, thank you. But let me know what you think of all this OpenAI drama, everything that's been going on. We're going to be talking about that here in a second. But also, if you're listening on the podcast, thank you for that as well. Always make sure to check your show notes. You can always come back in and join the live conversation after the fact. So let's talk about what's going on in the world of AI news. First, there's other companies out there in the AI news right now, aside from OpenAI. But Anthropic yesterday announced Claude 2.1. So Claude is their large language model from Anthropic. Kind of the big piece of news here is a new extended context window of 200,000 tokens. What that means, if you're not a dork or care about tokens or do token tests like I do, essentially that gives you the ability to relay over 500 pages of information to Anthropic's Claude if you are on their pro paid plan. So the company Anthropic also said that this new update in 2.1 cuts down or gives a 2x decrease in hallucinations. So apparently fewer hallucinations. We'll be testing that out, as well as improvements in their API, which could finally bring web access to Claude. That's why I tell people don't use it right now. Well, maybe that'll change in the near future, especially bringing web access could be huge. Also, they announced a new workbench, which is similar to OpenAI's Playground. And this is very recent, right? Because Google just a couple of weeks ago announced a $2 billion investment. A couple of months ago, Amazon announced a $4 billion investment. So if you want to know who's competing with OpenAI, it is Anthropic Cloud for now. Speaking of OpenAI, yeah, we're going to talk about it, y'all. We're going to talk about it. So OpenAI has officially, right? Because could you even keep up with this? It was a tennis match, back and forth watching this. But OpenAI has officially brought back Sam Altman as their CEO. So original founder was fired on Friday. So much drama back and forth, nonstop. But it is official now after much negotiation to bring him back. So OpenAI in a statement says, we have reached an agreement in principle for Sam Altman to return to OpenAI as CEO with a new initial board as of Brett Taylor, who's the chair, Larry Summers, and keeping on Adam D'Angelo. Interesting. And then saying, we are collaborating to figure out the details. Thank you so much for your patience through this. Some responses. Sam Altman put out a statement on Twitter saying, I love OpenAI, and everything I've done over the past few days has been in service of keeping this team and its mission together. Also important to know, because originally Microsoft CEO announced that Sam Altman was going to be joining the Microsoft team. So about that, he said, when I decided to join Microsoft on Sunday evening, it was clear that was the best path for me and the team. With the new board and with Satya's support, I'm looking forward to returning to OpenAI and building our strong partnership with Microsoft. So Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella also put out a statement saying that he supports Sam Altman's move away from Microsoft and back to OpenAI. A lot going on. And then also, apparently it looks like Greg Brockman, who's the president, is back as he shared a selfie in the wee hours of the morning, looking like he's back with the OpenAI team. So much going on in the world of AI news. We're going to be dissecting this probably a little bit more next week. And also, Emmett Shear, interim CEO, who lasted 72 hours. Presumably, he's done. OpenAI really didn't say that. He put out a statement essentially saying, he's glad to have been a part of the solution. So presumably his time as interim CEO is up. So yes, that's a lot. We're going to have more news as we always do. So make sure, if you haven't already, go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for the free daily newsletter. But that was a lot. Thank you for your patience, y'all, because I'm excited I'm excited for today's guests. So please help me welcome to the show. Let's bring her on. There we go. We have Usha Jagannathan, who is a responsible AI leader, ex McKinsey. Usha, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jordan. It's a pleasure to be here, and especially right before Thanksgiving. And I'm hoping many people would be unwinding if they are on the show. Wonderful to see all of them here.
Yes, yes. Always, always great. If you're a podcast listener, you got to join the live stream. There's so many everyday people, even some AI professionals, people from big companies. But hey, shout out to Dr. Harvey Castro saying great to be here. Brian saying good morning from Minnesota. Woozy joining us from Kansas City. Thank you all. What do you want to know? What would you like to know from Usha when we talk about navigating this AI tsunami? But let's start there, Usha. The last couple of days have been insane. What's your take on everything that has unfolded? Because it's literally been a tsunami the past 5 days.
It is. It is. So, we are overwhelmed by this AI news and what since last Friday, right? So we are struggling to understand the benefits, risks, and also how a board can take us forward, because it started all with the executive board leadership. So what you see here is the takeaway for all of us is like the diversity matters and how the leadership sets, it speaks volumes, like how the leadership sets the strategy and how they create the vision. So those are all the things that I look at as the takeaways. And I'm hoping like it's dust is settling down, where Sam Altman is going to be expected to return to OpenAI as a CEO. And we did see the news on Microsoft CEO talking about it, like wherever he is, we are going to support. So those are the things or the takeaways, how it was a win-win situation at one point, what Microsoft was suggesting, and then later on, right now, Sam Altman being expected to return back to see OpenAI.
Yeah.
So it has been a whirlwind, and the takeaways for us is like, how are we going to, because we are, it's AI is disrupting the world every minute, every second of the day today, and how we are going to navigate this, and how we can build responsible AI products, and
Mm.
also make sure like we can be able to uh, you know stick to the mission, what that they are talking about as benefit all of humanity, right? So
Yes.
the
Yeah.
diversity then definitely matters.
Yeah, absolutely. And real quick, let's maybe even Osha just hit rewind. So maybe could you just explain a little bit even about your kind of personal and professional experience in AI? Because I believe at McKinsey you were helping to develop and deploy some AI applications there. So maybe just give us a very brief overview of kind of your professional background as it comes to AI.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I started off as in the software engineering background, and then I pivoted when I was starting to build a lot of faculty student AI projects at Arizona State University, and that's when I said like, okay, I would like to come out of the zone, comfort zone, and move into the corporate side. And I went into corporate working at Marsh McLennan. Earlier, I have worked for Washington Post as a consultant, and then I moved into McKinsey. And the recent experience with McKinsey was like trying to build and deploy AI applications, and also making sure that how we can deploy it in the cloud, like a lot of cloud migration that's happening across all organizations, and making sure that I am a passionate, more responsible AI advocate to make sure we are able to build with fairness, transparency, accountability, because all these things matter, especially if it's a management consulting. You look for the accountability, everything in every organization, because every the regulatory standards, how they are scrutinized, the auditing for all of this, the AI models, what the responses it spits out, what it gives. We want to make sure that it is ethical and fair manner.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, you know what? I love that you had a background of the Washington Post. I that always hits home. I love having people who used to work at newspapers. I used to work at newspapers way back in the day. But let's talk a little bit, Usha, just about present day. because it seems
Hmm.
like companies are always struggling, especially smaller companies, not the size of your McKinseys in the world. But
Hmm.
how can, maybe what are some, guys, like high level strategies, for companies on how they can start to use AI and to start to navigate this AI tsunami? Maybe specifically, let's talk recruitment. So maybe what are some strategies for companies and how they can best use AI for better recruitment?
Okay, sure. Yeah. So it's basically like starting with the recruitment. If you talk about today, what I see is we have seen the tech layoffs have become the new normal, right? In the entire past, like last 9 to 10 months, like right from since December 2022, November or December 2022, right when Twitter dismantled the media communications team, the responsible AI team. Since then, up until now, you have seen, like even very recently we saw Meta dismantling the responsible AI team. So not necessarily I'm talking about responsible AI, but many teams that got collapsed. What you see today is like the recruitment has started, but the recruitment, what they are doing is they are putting the feeler out. I feel personally that so they are taking their own sweet time in order to hire people. And there could be but at the same time, today it comes with it's the need of the hour, where many companies, what I notice is like they want to close their budget for the end of the year. So there might be people who would be hiring, and so we need to watch out what that they can close out before the 15th of December, when everyone go for holidays, so that you could be able to apply and get the job what you are looking for, because you want to land well in the next role, whether you're transitioning or you're basically coming out of as a graduate and trying to seek for new freshers. For all of them, I would suggest that um, look into the media and look into what that they are looking for. Study the do your homework with the company and see whether you could be able to reach out and apply. And it's not easy said than done. So it's like how we make it work, uh, that that takes a lot of time and proper planning and organizing.
Mm. So yeah, that was great. You kind of tackled it from both sides, but maybe even from people who are trying to grow their careers
Uh-huh.
with AI, which I think is just as important, because sometimes, from what I've seen and from what we've talked about on this show, sometimes it's the individual employees, in these small and medium sized organizations that are actually taking the bottom up approach, right? And they're saying, hey, the company hasn't said anything. Let's try this. So maybe how can, those out there listening, how can they maybe upskill or reskill? Let's
Hmm.
say they're mid-career and maybe they don't have, AI governance in place or AI initiatives in place. How can they upskill and also help to bring that to their organizations?
Absolutely, yeah. So there was a recent article that came in Harvard Business Review, where they say, like, I've noted it down here. So the average half life of skills is now less than 5 years, and in some tech fields, it's as low as 2.5 years, which is quite true, right? So the companies, what we see, all the organizations, upskilling is alone won't be enough. But in order to upskill, they are like they all are in this where they want to see how they can upskill their employees, because they don't want to lose their talent, because once again using the resources to bring back new talent, it's going to cost them. So the need for a reskilling revolution is quite apparent, right? So one thing is reskilling, it's you can see in the Harvard Business Review what's written is it's a strategic imperative, because in this labor market what we see today, we want to make sure how we can reskill based on what the company it's based on, like you need to develop skills that are company specific. So let's say it's a supply chain or it's a beauty brand company. Based on that, what that they are looking for, if it's specific to AI, data and AI, then what that they are really, what tools that they are using, what that they are looking for. And you could be able to see in YouTube and many medias that where they would talk about, oh, we are leveraging AWS and we are leveraging LLM integrating this particular tool, Gen AI tool. So that gives us a hint, okay, this is the cloud technology that they are using, so let's upskill on that. If you're applying for an architect position, okay, something that they might need in order to show. It doesn't have to be a certificate culture, but having that credential companies look for.
Mm. And we will be sharing this in the newsletter. This kind of article from the Harvard Business Review that Usha just mentioned. But I'm curious because I'm looking at it now, and it says a generation ago, the half-life of the value of a skill was approximately 26 years. Now the half-life is often less than 5 years, right? So I believe
Exactly.
half-life is kind of your ability to retain the skill set that you kind of learned or have acquired. Usha, maybe, I mean, do you know why it's down like that? Like, is AI changing how employees are able to learn and properly leverage skills? Or is it just, we need to learn and leverage way too many skills and we need to upskill now, maybe monthly instead of yearly? I mean, why do you think the shift?
Why do we think the shift? See, it's see, earlier we used to call it as a digital era, right? But today we call it as everything. It's an ever evolving AI landscape. Every day some tool is coming. We cannot keep abreast with each and every tool, and that's why I mentioned, as the HBR review is talking about, we need to be company specific. Let's say that you're working for a management consulting, but they might have a technology arm behind it, and if they are working on certain tools, then make sure, if you're not you might be working on one particular tool, just don't get hooked to that particular. For instance, you might be very good in Python and Java, but if there are some skills that it is better to learn, if I'm like backend engineer, having that holistic experience, something else that you would like to learn, to have that experience, that might help. That might that might help you to. What I always tell, whether it's a students community or the junior colleagues that I mentor or my peers, that I tell, like, if we don't keep up with the technology, we will become technologically obsolete. That
Mm.
is so true today,
It's so
and I'm
hard.
sure you agree. Yeah, it is
It's
hard.
so
It
hard,
is
right?
hard. It is hard. So I generally tell them, like, for instance, Dr. Andrew Ng, or like all these all the scientists, the experts, that, if you're following them, they have the for instance, deep learning courses. Some of the courses that they have, make sure what it is you can take it. Like, for instance, they have a wonderful course as generative AI for everyone. You do not need to have coding skills in order to have the AI learning.
Mm.
So right now, what you see, especially today, you see is like everyone is going towards the no low code, no code. So how we can take, for instance, Party Rock, or one tool that they have introduced, service that AWS has introduced recently. So it doesn't need coding.
Mm.
So how we can learn that and leverage, so that we could be able to apply. If your company using AWS, how you can apply that. So that's
Yes.
how I look at.
That is such a good point, and it's something that we probably, Usha, don't talk enough about because I think there's, maybe rightfully so, but there's this stigma around artificial intelligence because it's not new, right? Artificial intelligence has been used in different sectors for decades. But
Mhm.
before, it's like, yeah, you might have had to have a master's degree or a PhD in computer science or something else to take advantage of deep learning and neural networks and building these models. But it's not like that anymore. You like you mentioned, right? No code or extremely low code, right? So we've seen some recent offerings from even, Microsoft 365 Copilot, their new studio that allows you to build some really robust solutions with drag and drop. So even with that in mind, maybe let's talk about that a little bit more. Because maybe the average everyday person is kind of scared when they hear, oh, AI or generative AI. It sounds difficult. Sounds like I need, Java or Python or whatever, but that's not necessarily the case, right?
It is not. It is not. So, for instance, currently um, I'm a associate consultant for Arizona State University for the WP Carey School of Business. So, what we do there is, like, we work on the industry academia partnerships, and what I do is, it's like we are building technology training programs in communicating with the industry. So let's say it's ServiceNow, for instance. Then the we in ServiceNow, you notice like you do not need to know the entire ServiceNow tools, but they help you to. What we do is we build a course, and that course can be able to be leveraged where the people, if you want to become an IT sysadmin, then you can be able to take that course, and that course can help you at the end create a build an exam like you can take a certified system admin exam, and once that exam is done, they might take you for an IT associate technician level course. But what I'm trying to say here is they also have introduced AI in it, and all you need to know is how you navigate the ServiceNow platform and understand it, and then how you can be able to leverage their AI application. Everything you can do it with less code, but you are able to understand how to navigate the platform, how you can be able to manage their instances. Very beautifully the course is structured, and so I'm going to facilitate that course. Just I'm giving an example. So people are the companies are trying to see how they can partner with universities and bring these programs so they can get the talent, also talent pipeline, and at the same time they can show like it's open to everyone, not like only people who have a certain degree like an undergrad or a grad degree, but anyone can be able to use their skills.
Mm.
So that is something like I feel like there is no necessary for degree in order to, because you see like how they are going paperless, which I want to bring this up a minute. I would like to take on this, where there are many organizations have apprenticeship programs, work study programs, where they do not look for. I've spearheaded these programs at McKinsey, Marsh McLennan, where you do not need to have a certificate showing like you have a degree, but we bring through vendor partners, and then they might have a background, and there are some people who had background in carpentry, in something janitor supplies, and it's totally different, but they come with the passion of developing software, and that's where they start. And you don't expect that they need to know in and out of AI skills or in and out of software development skills, but we trained them, groomed them. That was one of the part of my role, and mentored them. And after 6 months, 18 months, we reassess them. If they are good, then we good in their tech talent, then we hire them. So
Mm.
I don't think that everyone needs to come with a certain degree requirement, as long as you have that passion.
I love that. Yeah, especially in a field that is growing so quickly. And this is a conversation for another day, right? Because half of the universities out there are banning generative AI, yet so many companies are needing to hire people with that experience. So Usha, great point that sometimes all it takes is if you work at a company, have the passion, upskill, reskill. Such a great point. Gonna take a question. Great one for Mike here. So just pretty simple here, but just saying, Usha, please tell us about a solution you have built, presumably, in AI. But yeah, maybe let's talk, specifically. What's an example of a solution that you've helped build around AI, and maybe what was the impact that it had?
Oh, sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I would like to step back, like at Marsh, one company before, like that I work for Marsh McLennan. So the products we build is for customer facing, or it could be internal facing. So thank you, Mike, for asking that question. So it was like for, let's say, for client claims approval for insurance code. You the application is like you want to make sure that AI what it builds, the AI like sorry what the product that has been built. You want to make sure, like, let's say you are applying for claims. You have submitted a claim, and I have submitted a claim, but yours got accepted and mine got rejected. Then I need to know why it disapproved, why the model rejected my claim. Then it would say like probably it rejected. It gives you the counterfactual. So I created an explainability with my team to add an explainability component where using Lime or SHAP, where it provides you a local or a global interpretation, but at the same time it provides the counterfactual, saying like, okay, if it's a claim or an insurance, both we did both claim approvals model and also insurance cross selling. Okay, if this the insurance code. So if, for instance, like the last 3 months of Usha's utility bill was not paid on time, and for these reasons, this the insurance code was rejected. And if she had paid it on time, and if she can come back after 3 months and does everything on time, probably it would, her insurance code can be approved. So it gives you, or a loan can be approved. These are like three different sets of products I'm talking about. I'm not trying to go in tangents, but what I'm trying to say is giving that counterfactuals that that helps to understand the customer. Oh, okay, this is the reason mine was rejected or mine was disapproved, and it is not something of gender bias or anything. So that is that explainability component is extensively I've worked with Mike, and where we try to create the add that counterfactuals and say this is the reason that this was denied or this was disapproved. And if this can be changed in the course of action, when you reapply, yours will get reapproved. And that is that model that I built. I felt like I've that was felt like an accomplishment. The reason is you are trying to build something, not only creating a seamless digital experience for the customers, but you are also making sure that the customers are able to understand what exactly the model is providing the response, because
Mm.
there are so many innumerable chatbots out there today, and you want to make sure the response that you get, it's not only today human like content because of the LLM that we leverage, but we also want to make sure that it is fair and it provides you the right information, right? And
Mm.
it you need to feel comfortable about, okay, this is what that I expected. Oh, and is this the reason that they need that explanation? Is this the reason that my claim was denied? And they want to know, where they have every right to know that answer.
Yeah, the explainability piece is always huge, right? Because both internally, you have to kind of be able to interpret the whole black box, but the explainability also helps on the back end as well. You know, maybe in this example, why a customer's claim maybe was accepted or why it was denied. That's a great
Yeah.
point. So, this is another great question here from Cecilia. Cecilia, thanks for joining us because this one hits on kind of strategies, retention, and growth. So, uh, Cecilia asking, have you seen how AI can help identify capacity for skills in candidates when specific skills are not identified? I love that because we just, kind of had the janitor kind of example, kind of transitioning or upskilling. But how can maybe organizations use AI to help identify skills in, candidates or maybe even employees that aren't easily identifiable? Is there a way to do that?
Yes, yes. I believe, yeah, I'm sure. Like couple of years ago, the AI hiring algorithm that every organization uses this. So even McKinsey uses the hiring algorithm. So making sure that there is, because we did face like quite a few years ago, like where we all saw in the news where Amazon had the hiring algorithm issue, and then they fixed it. So the same way here, what they try to do is like whether what kind of skills is it matching, matching what that they are looking for. For instance, like let's say I'm coming with no background at all, with some background in history, but I am passionate and curious about. But what, Cecilia, that we look for is that ATS will be able to track like certain keywords, that how it is fed, and making sure, like, have they done some projects, even if they have not built any applications, have they worked on some projects, some software development projects. And what we look at is like if they have developed some boot camp projects through that vendor, and what kind of projects that they have showcased. And those are the things that that gets picked up. And then even we just it's always a human in the loop, they say. There is a human behind it, and not just discarding the resume. It's like making sure, like, okay, if there is something like that they have built the projects, we take that and we look into it. Okay, why don't we bring this candidate and have a look at it and talk to them, and why they are interested to come in here as an apprentice. So
Mm.
starting with an apprentice in a junior level role and trying to understand. So what I would say is like the specific skills, if it is not identified, it gets identified in based on how you feed certain stop words that you give, how you feed in the algorithm, and making sure that you don't look for whether they have bachelors, whether they have masters, but also look for what type of project they have done. And I think, like, even if you're bringing people with graduate level people, what I look for is, I have recruited so many people, and what I see is, we look for what type of projects that they have done, how it is going to be relevant when they come here to get into the transition into this role, because that matters, because that hands-on skills is what every company looks for. Even when you're coming into a leadership role, there is like the technical skills is what that they look for, so you can be able to steer and mentor the people that you are going to train in your team.
Mm. Usha, I feel we have a little bit better idea now of how to kind of navigate this AI tsunami and everything that's happening. But because we did talk a little bit about strategies for recruitment, for retention, and for growth, and a lot more. But maybe what is one takeaway as we wrap up today's show? What's maybe one takeaway that you really want people, whether they're trying to grow their companies or grow their careers, what is the best way for them to navigate this AI tsunami? What's that one piece of advice that you have for people?
Okay, sure, sure. So make sure, like, be curious, and be open to trying things. Come out of your comfort zone. Whether people, if you have worked completely in, like, let's say you are a student watching this podcast, make sure that you might have done all projects in the academia setting. Do not worry about, come in and test the skills. Do try to explore if you can take internship, and even if it's not a paid internship, if you're in the middle of your junior year or before getting into your senior year, make sure that you are able to get some unpaid intern job and volunteer and learn that skills, so that you get that industry knowledge, and you could be able to easily transition into going for a paid internship, and then probably the company will acquire you as an employee. So that's for the students, I'm saying. But for career seekers or transitioning, I would say, still, be curious and try to explore. Like, even if you have never tried low code, no code, it's not like it's completely no code. If you're going to be a uh, if you have a technical background, then I would suggest, like, we would be customizing that code a little bit. It's not going to be a completely zero code, right? So in that way, because low code no code is getting so much popular, how you can leverage that in your work. Because if you're using AWS or Google or Azure, definitely you would be making sure that not only cloud agnostic tools you would be playing with, what kind of cloud native tools with their services that you can leverage, because already the licenses are paid by your company.
Mhm.
So how you can be able to leverage those services and bring that in your applications that you're developing, and
Yep.
make sure that we develop ethically responsible AI products, because so that it serves for the social good, for the company, for the customers, and for whomever that you build. That is something that I would say: stay curious and come out of your comfort zone to try and explore.
That's perfect, because that's what we do every day here, Usha. We always stay curious. We're always trying to learn. So thank you so much for joining us on the Everyday AI Show. We very much appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, Jordan.
All
And you
right.
all
Hey,
have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
thank you. Yes. Yes. To those out there in the US, we hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Yeah, we will be off the show tomorrow, but we'll be back Friday. Don't you worry. So thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure, if you haven't already, go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for that free daily newsletter. We're actually going to be making a couple tweaks and a couple changes, but we're going to be asking you about them first. So if you're not already signed up, make sure you go sign up, and make sure to join us back again, not tomorrow, but Friday, for more Everyday AI. Thanks.